Welcome to Pavitra, an ecosystem for your soul. At Pavitra, we aim to enhance the health, wellness, and spiritual quotient of all living beings. We aim to do good as we grow and develop with our communities. We offer services for religious, festive occasions, as well as a curated line of products sure to uplift your soul. Please follow us on our Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube handles at Pavitra Connect. Today, we are really excited to share with you a global transformation initiative brought to you by the Maitri Bodh Parivar. Founded in 2013 by Maitreya Dada Shriji, this is a socio spiritual organization led by a family of friends to develop, nurture, and strengthen the human bond of love and friendship. Their mission is to uplift human consciousness to a higher state. Both Pavitra and the Parivar are looking forward to working with each other on several initiatives as we go along. Let me tell you about the Global Transformation Initiative. This is a 2-year, 20-session program, and amazing, it is completely free. So I urge you to go register on maitribodh.org/transform to join the global initiative, register for this program, and join the transformation journey. Registrations end on the 31st of December. So please go and do this today. We have two extremely special guests today who are both enlightened souls, and I'm really privileged to be talking to them and having this conversation on the time to transform. So, Smita ji and Radharani Mataji, thank you so much for joining us on Pavitra today. Smita ji, as you all know, is an accomplished actor, has done television, theater, films, iconic movies that we all know, Hum Dil De Chuke Sanam, Sarfarosh, amongst many others. But what we probably don't know is that over the last 35 years, she has embarked on a spiritual quest. She is certified in no less than 35 holistic healing techniques, including Reiki, past life regression, amongst others. She has spoken on the TEDx platform, and today she spends time with college students, conducting workshops with corporates, individuals, and groups, helping them to lead a fuller life. She has evolved and used simple teaching methods to make this happen for a number of people, and we look forward to speaking with her more today. So thank you once again. Radharanipriya Mataji is the guiding light for us at Pavitra. For the first 15 years of her life, she was an accomplished dancer and represented India in many festivals across the globe. Over the last 2 decades, she also has embarked on a spiritual quest. She has a deep understanding of the Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, and other ancient texts. She has used those teachings to guide others to use the knowledge in their daily lives. She works tirelessly with terminally ill cancer patients with causes such as women empowerment and upliftment, as well as helping the less privileged. So it's a privilege for us to have her on our platform. Thank you again, Mataji, for joining us. So the conversation that we want to have today is about transformation. And Smita ji, I'll start with you. That you went from, or you're still an actor, and you transformed yourself and you took the spiritual path. So why did you feel the need to transform yourself? I mean, and how has it helped you in your life once that you have embarked on this transformation?
Very honestly, Chetanji, I had no clue of what I was doing when I got into spirituality. I had no clue at all. I didn't know what the difference between spirituality, religion, all these things were in the beginning. And I didn't even know that I want transformation, very honestly. Now, it just so happened over the years, and I kept meeting my gurus, my masters. So they kept on, I did a lot of sadhanas with them. I did a lot of processes in the bargain. I really have worked on myself a lot. I really probably needed to, I don't know. But I really had to work on myself a lot. Then in 2013, I met Dada Shriji, Maitreya Dada Shriji.
Yes.
That is when I realized what exactly transformation means, and whether I want it or no. Now, in spite of such a long spiritual journey, I was not a transformed human being, which I realized when I met Dada Shriji.
Right.
So now, when he explains what is transformation actually, so I was just groping, oh, these words, big words like enlightenment and awakening and this and that, and then everybody's running after that. And actually, that's not what it is. So what needs to happen is to transform from within. So when I heard this word transformation, the first thought that came into my head, wow, I mean, looking different. Like if you're fat, you've gone thin. If you stop coloring your hair, this is what you look
Right.
like. Or, any of these things, which was external. You change your house, you buy a new house, and suddenly, like in our field, if I have to say, like actresses, when they're doing the first film, they don't, they look very simple. But when you do the second film, there's a whole huge change about them. Oh, then you say, what a transformation, my God, from the first film.
Probably doctors involved there, but we won't go down there.
Yeah, probably whatever. So that is what I always thought transformation was. Till Dadashriji explained to me, saying that is not what I'm talking about, because that is not a permanent thing, that transformation. What I'm talking of is a holistic, complete transformation which is there within you, which shifts your core, your being, your astitva. That is the shift and the transformation that we are talking about. Now, let me give you an example.
Yes.
Maybe it would sort of help you to understand what exactly I mean. If we take an example of an ant, how much of the ground does ant see? Only this much, right? At the most, this much. But when the bird sees it, he sees it from here. When an eagle sees it, the eagle sees it from this height, and a cloud for all those, but that much of a bird's eye view, the whole view. That is how transformation happens. So you start from that ant's perspective, which most human beings are, the narrow perspective of looking towards life. You broaden, and it's a process. You gradually broaden your outlook, and your whole perspective towards life changes. You look at life differently, you look at yourself differently, you look at every human being differently, you look at a situation, an experience differently. That is what we are talking about as far as transformation is concerned.
So Smita ji, I wanted to ask you a follow-up to that, you embarked on this transformation journey, like you said, from 2013, and you probably, like you said, it's a process, so you're still transforming and evolving.
Yes.
And while you experience this transformation over the last few years, in dealing with, let's say, a stressful situation or a personal relationship, or, empowering somebody else with knowledge, how has it sort of helped you, or how has it sort of benefited you in your daily life?
So it's not that once you're transformed that you won't get angry, or you won't get upset, or you don't get hurt. It's not like that.
So
when you are in the situation, all these emotions are bound to happen to you. You are going to feel bad or hurt or whatever, sad in a situation. But then you have that awareness that you have to zoom out and look at things. So that awareness comes to you very easily and faster, so that you're not in that vortex which is going down. You don't sink in. Like, for example, now in this situation, the COVID situation.
Yes.
This is so much right there in our faces. The universe the Earth, planet Earth, has brought each one of us down to our knees.
We're all in this together. Yeah, there's no escaping it.
Yeah, no one, every human being on this planet has been, there is a huge transformation if you understand why COVID actually happened. There were some people who could not handle the situation, and they went down the spiral, and some of them ended their lives, and some of them went to depression, all kinds of things. But there is a huge mass of people who transformed. Like they mean, internally, I don't know what happened, but we could see that they changed their jobs. They started doing things which are online. They started, the whole world has become online now.
Yes.
Everything is online. And the planet is very happy without human beings, which we saw.
Yeah, you can see Mumbai's weather and the quality of air has improved, and nature is coming back, right?
All over the world. Delhi had zero pollution.
Yes.
All the birds and everything, like near my house over here, we had peacocks walking in some colonies and all that, right. Which never happened.
Yeah.
Ganga Maya.
Maybe we need to transform the way we interact with nature as well, so that we can live harmoniously rather than at the cost of.
Absolutely. This is what I mean. This is exactly what I mean. So the planet itself has told us what to do and how to transform. So this is the need of the hour now. The earth is transforming. The planet is transforming. It's going through a different dimension towards the fifth dimension. So we need to move with the earth. Now, if we don't match with the frequency of the way the planet is moving and transforming, we are going to be suffering. We are going to be sad, and we'll be stuck there. We will not evolve. So at the moment, there is no choice for humanity but to transform.
Absolutely right. Thank you. Mataji, you've also had a transformational journey over the last 20 years, spiritual, connecting with yourself, connecting with a deeper understanding of life. So share with us, why did you get into this transformative stage and this journey, and how has that changed your perspective, and how has it impacted your life? You're on mute, Mataji, if you could unmute. Thank you. Now you're unmuted. Thank you so much.
So, Chetan, thank you very much for having me over. And Smita ji, thank you for actually sharing the platform with me. I'm a very small person.
Oh my God. So am I, please?
So I'm extremely honored to be here with both of you.
Mataji, in that case, I need to be on my way. But please, go ahead.
In my case, very similar to like Smita ji was saying, my journey, I was attracted to Krishna since a very young age. In fact, I had a small altar of my own, and my parents were not into it. It's not that I was, because my parents were in it. So, but somehow there was fear connected to the Supreme Lord.
Mm-hmm.
As if I don't do this, there's something going to go wrong. So that was my connection with the Lord, was that, there was fear attached to it, that if I don't do puja in a certain manner, then this will happen. And if I don't, eat something and do my puja. And this, I was a very young girl when, all this journey began. But the best part, when I met devotees, Srila Prabhupada's followers like Radhanath Swami Maharaj and, his disciples and everybody, which I came in contact with them. The first transformation for me, which took place, was from fear to fearlessness.
Nice.
Because you realized one of the most important things one realized, that what is our relationship with the Lord and the universe and everybody in connection, in this universe. So there is actually such a loving relationship with them. So there is no scope of, Krishna doesn't say, there is a shloka which he says, in which in the Bhagavad Gita, which he keeps it very simple. It's in the 9th chapter, 9.26. It says, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tadam bhakti upahartam ashnami prayatatmana. So beautifully he says, you offer me a patra, a pushpa, a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water with devotion, and I accept it. So we realized here is the Supreme Father, the Supreme Lord. All he's asking for is love.
Right.
And as far as change is concerned, change is constant in our life. There is nothing which remains the same. Each and every molecule in our body, each and everything in our body changes. They say, we talk about, body changing at the time of death. But actually, every 7 years, there is not a single atom in our body which is the same.
Wow. Okay.
So the change is absolutely constant. And so coming in contact from fear to fearlessness, from basically towards love, and trying to transform the false ego into a true ego. So the ego word is not wrong, but from
so Mataji, in the last 20 years, you've obviously been down this path and learned so much, and in your relationships or in your daily sort of lives, handling situations, let's say the stressful situation that we are today with COVID, if you were not spiritually inclined, it would have been difficult for you to handle it. So how does it help? I mean, if I ask someone that you must go down this path, I mean, so what if I go down the path? What's the uska fayda kya hai? And human beings are उनको फायदे के लिए कुछ करना है. So अब क्या है जो आपने किया?
There is so much clarity in our life, and you become detached from the results and more focus on goals.
Okay.
So we set goals for ourselves, but the focus shifts. Usually we are more attached to we speak about goals, but we are actually talking about the results. So I want to be a doctor. Why do I want to be a doctor? Not usually because I want to heal people, but because I want some kind of recognition, then I'll get some money. So those are the results for it.
Right.
As far as doctor is concerned, doctor actually only heals. So if we become attached to that's what happened. So from then what happens from in life, then you see obstacles as opportunities, not as roadblocks.
Excellent. That's a good, because life is, problems are there every day in our lives. One has to overcome them and move on to fixing the next one, because there is no perfection in life. So I think that's a very good point, that you look at every obstacle as an opportunity to learn and move forward. The whole pandemic has made us reflect. I hope all of us had some time, unless we were on the front lines, on our needs and our relationships. I think life is much more simpler than we actually make it out to be. Our wants for Mother Earth. And like Smita ji, you also said, we have to change as a society, as humanity, we have to evolve. And I think, a lot of people have this fear of spirituality or transformation, as both of you mentioned. And, preconceived notion that, it's very difficult or bahut mushkil kaam hai. But I think, unless you don't give it a shot, you're never going to realize how enlightening or how uplifting it can be. So I'll start with you, Smita ji. My next question is that, people talk about reflection, gratitude, heartfulness, as you mentioned when we were talking earlier. Why should I show gratitude? Why should I reflect? Why can't the others do it before me? Because if I do it and nobody else does it, to uska fayda nahi hai. Why should I do it? So what's your view on that? Because, you've been down this path.
This question is so funny. I find it really funny. But why should you have gratitude? Like when we were talking earlier, I'll repeat the same example. Chetan, if I give you a glass of water, what will you say? Here, Chetan, please have this water. What will you say?
Yeah. You'll say thank you.
Correct. Now, for a glass of water, you say thank you. If I do some favor for you, a small favor, which is very easily done by me, you'll still say thank you, right? So we say thank you for the smallest things to anyone. A bus conductor gives you a ticket, you also say thank you. Correct? So you say thank you for everyone. Now there is something which is a divine power. You may not believe in God per se. Chalo. I accept you're an atheist or an agnostic, whatever. You don't believe in form, is that full problem. But you do believe in some divine power. There is so much of harmony in the disharmony. There's somebody who's a sutradhar in sab cheezon ka. There is some divine power which nobody can refute. Okay.
True.
Now, if that divine power is handling us, doing things for us, and these people, even if you're an atheist, we do say, oh, thank God this happened. You use it so loosely, the word. So there is some power which is doing something for you at many a times. In fact, all the time, the very fact that you're breathing itself is a miracle.
True.
You can't stop breathing on your own, can you? No. And how does the nose know that it has to take in only oxygen and not other gases which are there around? This itself is a big miracle. So who's doing this? How is it happening? So there is something, someone, some power which is handling all this. And if that is the case, why cannot we just say, thank you, I'm breathing. Thank you. I've got lovely food to eat. Thank you. I'm staying in a nice house.
So Smita ji, I'll follow that up. One more question, then I'll ask Mata ji as well, her views on this. That, so let's say if I'm in a family and, I am going through this journey, I'm trying to become more aware of life and become more, connected. Other people don't want to follow me in that journey. So I probably get discouraged saying, aur koi nahi kar raha, main kyun karu? So what is the, why should I do it even if people around me are not doing it?
See what Dadashriji says. His simple explanation for the word spirituality. He says spirituality is simpler than the word simple. This is his quote. It's simpler than the word simple. And I always have felt, dealing with so many people for so many years, because it is so simple, शायद लोगों को नहीं करना है उसको. मतलब ऐसे लगता है कि बस इतना ही करना क्या है. So Dadashriji says, with this transformation, with this topic, he says, all you have to say is just say yes to me, that you are ready to transform. Whether you understand anything about it, whether you want to do it, nothing. करना कुछ भी नहीं ना आपको. Yes बोलो, बाकी का सब मैं करूंगा. अगर ये कोई responsibility ले लेता है तो मैं क्यों अपना दिमाग चलाऊं? Why should I bother? So okay, do like the transformation, worldwide transformation program we're having.
Yes.
You earlier mentioned the registration is just till the
Yes.
31st. Yeah, and we're having about 22 sessions over 2 years
Yes.
that happen.
Yes.
It is free of cost. So I was the first one to register. I said, yes, please, I want it.
Makes sense. Why not? Absolutely.
Yeah. You are sitting in your house, in the comforts of your own house, and somebody else is doing it for you. You don't have to do anything. No job, no tap, no fasting, no nothing, no nothing. And if you keep on saying कि अगर सामने वाला नहीं change हो रहा है तो मैं क्यों change हूँ, तो सामने वाला कभी change नहीं होगा. We all know that if something has to change, the change has to be within you only. Now I'll ask you a question, Chetan. Do you have some regular habits?
Yes. Some good and some bad.
Huh?
I said some good and some bad.
Okay, let's take the bad habit. Tell me what is the bad habit you have.
Madhani, I'm the one supposed to be interviewing you now. No, but
just as an example.
no, so I think, well, sometimes I procrastinate, which is probably not a good habit.
Okay. So now I will tell you now, you are this itni umar ho gayi hai. Change. Why do you keep on procrastinating? Have you been able to change that for so many years?
No. Well, not
if
really.
You can't change yourself, which is in your hands. How do you expect to change somebody else?
Right.
Correct? So the change is within you. You change and the world changes around you. Somewhere I read this sentence, I don't remember where I read it. That when you change, the things you look at change.
Correct. Your perspective changes. Yes.
Simple as that. To change करो ना अपने आप को, कितना difficult है.
So thank you, Smita ji. And thank you for putting me on the spot. Mataji, I wanted to ask you on your perspective.
Sorry, I think I got lost in the middle. So
no, you did. So I was asking Smita ji, and good that you're back. That because otherwise Smita ji will keep putting me on the spot. So. But I wanted to ask you. People say that why should I reflect? Why should I, show gratitude when others around me, let's say my family, nobody else wants to, go on to this path. So मैं क्यों करूँ? क्या फायदा? अगर कोई और नहीं कर रहा तो मैं भी छोड़ देता हूँ. So what's your view? I mean, why is it important, and how can you changing sort of help the journey for others?
So when our like Smita ji was talking about, the internal change, the actual change which takes place is internally. So when the internal changes, it definitely reflects on the outside too. Mm-hmm. And if we are looking for happiness, the happiness comes to you only, If we make, the first thing which we have to do is start disciplining the mind.
Right.
Like you were talking about procrastinating, that is also a way of the mind to take you, into a direction where it's not required to go.
Absolutely.
And what happens in that? In that, who is suffering? I'm suffering. The other person doesn't suffer. If we are carrying hate in our heart, who is the one who's holding the fire in the hand? Is me. And we keep holding that fire. And then we expect that the other person should burn with that fire, but the other person doesn't burn. So actually, if we do not do this, we are burning ourselves out. Correct. And this is exactly what is happening around us. We are completely burning ourselves out. I was talking about Sindhutai Sakkal, and I'll briefly just talk about her.
Please.
So she got married, had 3 children. By the age of 19, was carrying one. She was working somewhere. She complained against, somebody on top over there. That person came to her husband and said that the child she's carrying is mine. You chuck her out, you kill her, otherwise I will destroy you, and things like that. And ultimately, her husband tried to kill her, put her under, in the cow shed, thinking that the people will say she thought she's died, but she gave birth to the child under that protection of that mother cow, who did not let anybody come near her. She herself cut her umbilical cord.
Wow.
And ran away from there because nobody accepted her. And ultimately, I will not go into the details, the kind of obstacles she faced. But because of what she did for herself, she has an orphanage now where there are more than 1,000 children she's looking after. The
Wow.
same lady at the age of 19, because
Amazing.
she promised when that mother cow helped her that I will help people. She was about to commit suicide. She stayed in the crematorium. But her greatest victory was, you know what, Chetan? When her husband came to her, absolutely helpless, she accepted him as her son.
Wow.
And she said, my greatest, happiest moment of my life was when I was able to forgive him and see him that he is the cause of what I have achieved today.
True.
Wow. So that's
So,
totally changing your perspective and being at peace with.
yes. So actually, who benefits is not the other people. It's you who benefit. And when you are benefiting, then that's how you're able to benefit so many more.
Correct.
That's a great perspective. Fantastic.
So I think it's a win-win situation. You bring about that change in you, that transformation in you, and how you see the world, how you see situations, and everything else falls into place, not only for you, but for others also.
Yeah,
Smita ji,
sometimes it's kind of the challenging situations, they work like catalysts in your life. They help you shift to another thing. But luckily for her, there was some grace, Sindhutai, some grace must be there, which made her mind shift and change and transform. But it may not happen to everybody.
Sure.
Some of them might succumb to it. Some of them, I'm sure there are people who probably go through lesser efforts and have succumbed to it and they just give up on life. Coming to this, Pavitra ji, what I was saying is that this is absolutely true for people who are on the spiritual track or in awareness. Awareness hoti hai, to you think or look at things from a different point of view. There's somebody to guide you. There's some spiritual angle to the whole thing. But if we take the masses, आम जनता, who are not aware only how to change, how to do, what to do, तो वो क्या करे? आम जनता जिनको कोई there is no source only for them, कोई guidance नहीं है, कोई बोलने वाला नहीं है, कोई बताने वाला नहीं है, कुछ भी नहीं है. So what do they do in situations like this? So many a times, forget the आम जनता masses who are not educated. I'm not talking of those. There are people, educated, elite family के आए हुए लोग हैं जो they're completely no spirituality, sorry, that's not for me. That is their attitude, so to them it is from my side, I'm requesting, like, you don't have to really do anything. If you feel that there is something which is poking you or bothering you, or there is some sadness, there is some sorrow, you feel कि नहीं, ये मेरा स्वभाव मुझे अच्छा नहीं लगता, ये मेरी चीज मुझे अच्छी नहीं लगती, and you don't know what to do about it, I would say this is an appeal to them. Please join on this program that is happening now, which is free of cost, and do it. I mean, it's a 2022 lesson. You do at least first 5 and see what happens to you. Then you continue if you like it, and if you don't, fine. You live
Sure.
life the way you want in that same whatever you're going through. If you're happy with living life with that boj on your heart, आपकी जिंदगी हम क्या करें, है ना पवित्र जी?
So I a follow up to that, that many times people are quite content with their life and they're saying, oh, my life is rocking, especially the younger generation, because I see that spirituality sort of dawns on you when you reach a certain age. Spirituality is not cool for the younger generation. So maybe, as we go along our journey of partnership with the Maitri Bodh Parivar, Pavitra, and maybe we can figure out on ways to, inculcate this journey from a younger age. And maybe, Mataji and Smitaji, if you could share, how can we, make it cooler or make it more relevant to a younger audience? How can we imbibe this transformation philosophy and the spirituality philosophy in our younger generation? Because I don't know if too many younger people aspire to connect at this young
but
age.
Chetan, most spiritual organizations, they all have a youth wing. And they have a lot of youth connected to them. So is Maitri Bodh Parivar. We also have a youth wing. So what Sadarshi ji said, the word spirituality and all this sadhana, वो उनको नहीं अच्छा लगता words, these kind. So the youth wing does a lot of seva. They organize blood donation camps. They go to the old age homes. They clean up. Last year they did the cleanup of this chowpatty after the Ganesh Utsav. So ये सारी चीजें वो लोग करते हैं, plant saplings, so they like doing some kind of a seva, like the prayer for Mother Earth. Mother Earth के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा करते हैं, we do a lot for Mother Earth over here. So they do, the transformation is happening through seva. When
Right.
you're looking at the people who are underprivileged, who are not as lucky as you are, something happens and then shift comes. So that our youth wing, the MVP youth wing, does a lot of seva, which is, I mean, we have a lot of youth connected to us, and they enjoy doing that seva.
That's very nice to know.
Huh.
Mataji, what's your view on how can we get? And I know the Maitri Bodh Parivar is doing a lot of great things with the youth, but what are some of the things that you feel one can do to encourage the youth to get more aware of life in general and get more connected? It's a tough one.
We are actually one of the most important things which we have to do at a very small, at a very micro level, is that we become good examples ourselves. So we cannot expect somebody to change when we are not ready to be that change.
Correct. Absolutely.
And when somebody sees us going through that journey and happily going through that journey, and how we respond to that, to everything in our life, it's a very natural way of how we can affect the mind of our children.
Correct.
That is at a level of at a very personal level. But of course, like Smita ji was saying, other things which can be done, they are service oriented. The younger generation is more service oriented. So services are definitely something which can be given to them.
And through the service process, maybe they can get inclined and see the goodness of,
Yes, but we have to do it first.
Yes. We have
Here
to
I agree with you completely, Pavitra ji. Let me share something which happened with my children. I started this journey at a very, very young, not as a youth, but I was 25, 26 when I met my first master, Prabhuji. And he told me to do a havan. Chota sa havan kund unhone mujhe diya tha, bless karke. Or I was doing Om Prabhu Shanti Havan. He said, you start with that, Smita. Don't ask questions, you just start with that. So, abhi Guru ne bola to humko karna hai. That was my, so I started that. And that time my children were very small. They were just 12 and 14 years old. And they used to get very intrigued. What is mom doing? So they used to say, Mom, can we do this? Can we? So maze ke liye, maza aata tha unko karne ko. Let me do it, kar karke. But that time also didn't realize the metaphysical effect that was happening on them at that age, at that early age. Today, both the boys are very, very highly spiritual. In fact, Archit is looking after the legal wing of Maitri Bodh Parivar, and they're very, very connected. Though they are highly modern people, they do everything what South Bombay children do, everything absolutely. But internally, so connected to the divine is not funny. So this is, so as you said, it's rightly so. If we set an example to the younger generation, if we do it, then they somehow feel like doing it, or they would say कि क्या करते हैं ये लोग, मेरे माता पिता देखे तो सही, हम भी चले. ऐसा we can hope that thing could happen to them.
Yeah, absolutely. It really helps. Spirituality, connecting to spirituality. Spirituality is the intention behind what we are doing.
Absolutely.
So sometimes we lose that aspect of it, that spirituality is the intention. That's why, like Smita ji was saying, it is so subtle. Like we say that it's so subtle that we sometimes miss it.
Yes.
It's the intention behind it. So it is very important that we become an example of that subtlety. Otherwise, we will use our false ego to promote what we think is right.
Correct. Absolutely.
And we will not be able to give that intention. We'll only give them tension. We'll only give them tension, not intention. They'll remain in tension. So
nice pun on the word.
Yeah. So it's very important we give them that attitude. Again, I'm giving there was a friend of mine from Germany. So she was talking about the Hitler's one very close associate who was responsible for murdering millions of people. But once he was getting his, his barber had come and, he was talking to him, massage, he was getting it. And he was saying, I'm a great, I really believe in ahimsa or non-violence. And he kept talking about it. So the masochist after some time said, but you are doing something totally different, something completely what is not in sync with what the philosophy you believe in. So this person very seriously says, sometimes certain things you have to do it to make the world a better place. And this shows that sometimes our false ego takes over so much that we are not able to understand what is actually good. So we lose the path on the way. Like we are wanting to do something good, but we do exactly something totally different.
Wow.
This spirituality, the way it helped me very personally in very recent future, was that I know I'm announcing it to the world at this point of time, but something which I went through, actually I had I went into a slight depression. The mind started playing games with me. But because of the foundation of spirituality, because we understand that there are three bodies we are: the soul, the subtle body of mind, intelligence, and false ego, and the
Physical.
gross body, which is made up of 5 elements. So, and you understand that the mind is a separate living entity. So I was able to identify that and walk towards it. So this is how the change can actually happen, even when things like the mental issues which come up in your life can really go transcend with the help of spirituality, provided the intention is right.
Yes, of course.
The intention is the word. Otherwise, we'll remain intention, intention will not be right.
Thank you for that. Smita ji, share with us a little bit more on what is transformation. So if I say, I want to transform myself, external versus internal, what would you say? Okay, now you are on the journey to run. What is transformation as per you?
As I gave you that example, the earlier example of the
perspective, yeah.
And the whole perspective changes, and it's a holistic change. Your mind will come to rest. You see things from a different point of view. As ego, what Pavitra ji was explaining, the ego, you can very well differentiate that this your ego is acting here and what you have to do with it. Sometimes we fall in the hands of the ego, we don't even realize.
Yeah.
और अपने आप को समझौता करते रहते हैं, नहीं मैंने ये किया, जैसे ये बाबर वाला.
हाँ जी.
हम अपने आप को समझौता करते रहते हैं कि सॉरी मैं जो कर रहा हूँ ठीक कर रहा हूँ, टाइप ऑफ अ थिंग. So we have to understand the difference between that, and that difference, to understand that difference, what I'm doing is not right. My ego is coming in my way. That perspective, to change and understand the perspective, that is what is transformation. Dadashi ji says that transformation is a process. ऐसा नहीं कि आप 2 processes करेंगे मैत्रिबोध परिवार के through या ये whatever now we are offering. ऐसे नहीं है कि आप पूरे के पूरे बिल्कुल transform हो जाएंगे. Besides, again, he says, when you are on the process of transformation, the more transformed you are, people who come in your space automatically feel the transformation. Yeah, they feel that. They feel the love. They feel that calmness. They feel all of that. Now, for me, I would say, being in a film world, I mean, all of us have heard what that Sunehri Dunya is. And now it's been almost 35 years that I'm in the film line. And film stars are extremely insecure. Very, very insecure. अगर 4 दिन उनको फोन नहीं आता है कोई किसी सीरियल करने का या पिक्चर करने का, तो they start getting nervous and things like that. There's always so much of cutthroat competition and all kinds of things that we hear. And I have never gone through all this. Now it's very difficult when I say this at so many platforms that I've not gone through all this. I'm sure people will think झूठ बोल रही है. But I am not lying. It's a fact. I have not experienced any such things in the film line. In fact, it has taught me a lot. Taught me so much, and I have grown. I don't have any skeletons in my cupboard. I don't have all these kind of things. I don't feel insecure. I don't feel jealous. I don't feel anything. Sometimes I have to wonder, something's wrong with me? How can I not feel? Or that competitive spirit goes of yours. Things just fell in my lap. I don't have anybody in the film world. My entire family is full of lawyers. So I don't have a godfather, godmother, nobody in the film line. चीजें just मेरे पास आती गई. Why and how, I have no clue. So that's the time when I decided, whatever the divine has given me, I will use the same thing to help the divine, or to serve the divine. So that's what I've been doing ever since. So that's actually just my motto, that whoever छोटा सा भी niche crowd हो जो मुझे चाहता है या पहचानता है जो भी, I will reach out to them and return it to them, whatever the divine has given me. That is what my thing is about life. And that transformation I understood only after I came to Maitri Bodh Parivar.
Great.
I was not aware of all these things. I was not aware what was going on. Not at all. वो जो shift जो आया ना अंदर का इतने सालों के बाद में, जो shift जो मैंने actually tangibly experience किया है, it is not a subtle something. I actually tangibly experienced that shift inside me only after I came here to Dada Shiji, to Maitri Bodh Parivar.
Right, right. Mataji, to ask you, I mean, your transformation journey was obviously, you took a different path. Smita ji obviously had her own path. You know, what's your view on your perspective on internal and external transformation? And you're on mute, Mataji, so if you could unmute yourself, that'll be great.
I'm again and again getting out
That's
and coming. So I missed what initially was said. So
no, I just asked Smita ji that, how do you describe transformation? I mean, external versus internal. For you, what do you mean by, let's say that, okay, this person is on the journey to transformation, or he has transformed himself or herself. What's your perspective from a spiritual side, and your perspective in general?
So a transformation, the internal transformation which we are talking about, the basis has to be knowledge which is spiritual and universal. It has to be, it cannot be
Physical
for me and not for this,
Yeah.
and not at a superficial level. It is at a very internal level, which holds true for everybody. So the knowledge is something which we should accumulate, which is like with truth and values. Values are very important to give to the world at this point of time. Sometimes we get so in the name of spirituality, we become very ritualistic.
Yes.
And we forget that what are the values behind it. And according to that foundation, we build our intention, like I was speaking about. So the most important thing is, mind can be our best friend or our bravest of enemy.
Absolutely.
So that is one of the things which needs cleaning, because it is filled with, especially at this point of time, doubt, fear, and
Yes.
so much greed, and pride, anger, lust, envy. Everything is just over there. So it's very important for the transformation, internal transformation to take place, is what we take in through our ears, what we take in through our mouth, and what we take in through our eyes. So there are various ways, for that. And but the foundation has to be knowledge which is true and holds true for each and every one of us.
And for you, that path has been through the Krishna consciousness.
Yes,
path.
Yes, for me that has been what Srila Prabhupada gave, about he started this movement about 54 years back, and at the age of 70 he went there. And the kind of knowledge he told us that our scriptures is our mother, and if we want to know about our father, the only way we can know is through our mother.
No, and if you look at it today, the whole Ayurveda, and you talk about, people are really reconnecting with ancient wisdom.
Absolutely.
That has been around in our country for thousands of years. But people are, because there is so much of, chaos in the world, people are going back to the basics, which is our, original texts and scriptures, which have so much of in-depth knowledge, which will help us get past even this current pandemic, so to speak, and more. Sorry, Mataji, you were saying something.
No, just one thing. So I said, like in our scriptures, it's written that cow dung is pure. And now the world says that cow dung is antiseptic. It has many good qualities.
Yes.
And our scriptures always said it. Our scriptures always said bhugol. Earth is round.
Right.
But outside, of course, they said it's flat and whatnot.
Yes.
So all we have to find, all the answers are there with us, like in the form of yoga and Ayurveda.
Yes, absolutely.
And all these different astrology, there are sciences. It's just that now we don't take them as science, but they're science.
Yeah. No, and we talk about calming the mind, which is also probably one of the most important things to transform yourself. And things like yoga, etc., are sort of their focus on calming your breath, calming your mind, which takes you to a more aware state in life, and you can transform yourself through our ancient practices. So, also the other thing I wanted to ask you guys, when you enter they talk about when you transform, when you enter somebody's house or you're looking to buy a house, you say, iska vibe bada acha hai. You go to a restaurant, you say, this has got a great vibe. Or let's say I'm talking to both you lovely ladies and I say they've got a great vibe. This vibe is also our energy, right? This comes from somewhere. And there is, it's only there in certain houses and certain spaces. It's not everywhere. You don't get the same vibe. And that vibe is probably coming from positive energy that exudes in that environment. So I think if we are able to transform ourselves, that vibe can spread across the world and maybe make for a better place, right? I wanted to share your thoughts ask you your thoughts on this. There is a Japanese businessman and a scientist called Masaru Emoto. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right.
Yes. I know. Yes.
He did an experiment on water.
Water healing.
Right?
Yes.
Where he exposed water to various stimuli. And he took 3 glasses of water, or maybe 4. To one glass, he abused the glass and said, say, I'm going to kill you and do this and the other. To the other, he gave love. To the other, he said, I'm going to nurture you. And then he looked at the molecules of the water under a microscope. And obviously the glasses and even did it with music, Mozart versus jarring music. The molecules of the water were more beautifully formed and more sort of refined when you spoke to the glass of water with love and care versus abusing that glass of water. So,
absolutely,
you guys are, how do you interpret this, and what is your, what's your view on this whole? Why is it like that, or why, does water have life, and are you putting good vibes into your body? So tell me about what do you think about these things?
Everything on this planet has got a vibe, whether it is animate or inanimate.
Yes.
Everything. We see things as these hard, solid things, but actually it is not. If you have reached that stage, you can actually see it's not. So everything has a vibe to it. Everything has energy. So energy can only be transformed. Energy does not disappear anywhere. So it just gets transformed. So if there is bad energy anywhere, you can always transform it, like water. If it is a bad energy water, if you give galis to it, it will form, the molecular structure will be not good. But at the same time, again, if you start saying a song to it, music or this, that, the molecular structure will automatically change. It will come back to its nice molecular structure, just the way other things are. So energy, if you feel it is not a good energy, it can be changed. Similarly, having said that, when you are transformed, your vibe can change the others. So you really don't, as Dadashiji says, X amount of people, if they are in the transformed state, automatically their morphogenic fields start activating, and automatically everybody will just experience the transformation without you really doing anything for them. So that's how the energy works. Energy fields work.
Right. Madhaji, your comments on,
So absolutely. So there are 5 elements, 5 elements. Our body is made up of that. And like everybody, you said, you enter people's homes and you experience different. Yes. So we ourselves also doing that to the body also. We don't have to see the water, what he's saying. We are doing, our body also, is exonerating vibes, different kinds of vibes are there. So by themselves, these all the elements are pure because they are coming from the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Truth himself. And how they become impure is by our doing.
Yes.
When the negativity goes from us to them, and by us means human race.
Yes, absolutely.
It doesn't happen when an animal tries to do it, because animal doesn't have a choice. Humans have. Humans have a choice of how they are going to react to a certain thing. Right. But so all we have to do is take that pure thing and let it remain pure.
Yeah.
By by not hindering Mother Nature into something which is not she cannot accept it. Right. So that's what my thoughts are on this, that instead of just unwanted things. Like I think Michelangelo said that they said, "Oh, you carve, so your sculptures are so beautiful." He said, "I don't know anything. I just remove the unwanted things." So by itself, water is pure, all or any element is pure.
Yes.
We just have to remove the unwanted, which is not required to be there.
Right. So, I know we are getting close to the end of our conversation. The other, I did a chat or a conversation with Avatar Leela a few weeks ago where we spoke about the inner voice or the inner, critic. So, how does one decide whether what your intuition or what your inner voice is telling you is right or wrong? And I don't know if this is a fair question or can transformation and being more aware and connected with yourself be able for you to understand whether that intuition or that inner voice is guiding you in the right direction, or is it taking you down the wrong path? What are your thoughts on that?
So when you say you have to connect with the divine, there's always this kind of a dilemma whether I am connected to the divine and if it's a divine voice or is it my own mind working.
Your intuition.
Yeah. What Dadashiji has told us is when you hear the voice of the divine, you feel very light and nice at the heart level. But when it is at the mind level, mind will get you into more confusion. It will always be divided. दो thoughts आएंगे हमेशा. Confusion में ही डालेगा. वो that nature of the mind is such. But when it comes from the heart, when the divine voice comes, it comes from the heart, and it is just bang on the answer. There are no two ways to it. And it makes you feel very nice and good within. Doesn't disturb you. So that's how this question has been asked to Dadashiji many a times on all forums, that how do you differentiate? So this is what he's always said, that this is what it is. And it is a matter of practice. Continuous talking with the divine, being in connect with your own divinity 24/7 will automatically, you will be guided and you will know this is the answer that I got from the divine. It's just a muscle to be built.
Right.
कभी कभार आपको याद आएगा, कभी प्रॉब्लम में होंगे तो आप भी ईश्वर को याद करते हो, अपनी डिवाइन को याद करते हो, and then you don't know whether God has said this to me or God has not said this to me, that kind of a thing. ऐसा नहीं होता. It's a muscle to be built. You have to do that.
Right. Mataji, what's your view on this?
Like Smitaji was saying, that of course we have to be able to understand the difference between the Paramatma speaking and the mind. So in old movies, they used to show two personalities, one good, one bad. So something like that. But saying that, if we are really connected, and sometimes certain things don't happen our way, which if you see so many devotees, over a period of time, you say, oh, why did they take that decision? So I'll speak from Prabhupada, what happened with him once. So he would, of course, he could know so many things. Of course, Prabhupada always said we are not into mysticism. So they say mystical things like, knowing your mind, or having an apple and you doing this, and apple coming in your hand, or ashes coming. So that is just transformation of energy. That has nothing to do with transformation of your heart.
Right.
So he would often say, very casually, that, he would say things to people which was there in their heart, or what they were going to go through, but he would not pay much attention. So one of the temples which was coming up, in that, he took it from a person whom he knew is not the right kind of a person. So his disciples asked him, Prabhupada, how come, you took it? He says, sometimes Paramatma reveals, and sometimes for his own sake, he hides.
Right.
And now that the temple is there now, in that very place where the Lord wanted it to, he wanted to show that nothing comes easy. So Paramatma speaks, he's speaking to everybody, but because there is a thick layer around us, we are not able to hear him. वो एक film का गाना है, because Smita ji is there, so I'll say that. He has been saying, "Dekh lo idhar to ek baar main hu na." But we don't look at him, and we are not able to hear him because we have kind of put a lot of wax in our ears, and as she said, there is a process, there is a way,
Right.
especially which begins with hearing, and which can clean this whole. And we will be able to hear. We will be able to make that connection, and that intuition which we talk about is actually the voice of the Paramatma.
Awesome. Amazing. Thank you for that. So, as we transform ourselves, like we discussed, our energy obviously will become more positive, and we will probably be able to take more people along with us. Like you said, if you are eluding that positive vibe and energy, and you are transforming and you're becoming the change for other people to see, we can create this whole larger movement, and what even the Maitri Bodh Parivar is aspiring to do with this session of theirs. If I would ask, let's say I'm a 25, 30-year-old young person and I have everything going for me in life, what would you tell them that, okay, this is why, or not this is why, we've discussed why, but, a couple of steps and try this, and then you will see why it's good for you, or why should you do it. So Mataji, I'll ask you first that, I've got a rocking life, I've got friends, I've got money, I've got a job, or I've got a business. मुझे ज़रूरत ही नहीं है. क्यों ज़रूरत है और कैसे मैं शुरू कर सकता हूँ? Baby steps to get into this frame of mind.
So ज़रूरत नहीं है. I feel that almost everybody knows that the need is there.
Right.
And because internally almost everybody feels it, but we sometimes are hesitant to speak about it because of, we have this major social media telling us about, how good everybody's life is. So you say, how can my life not be good? Yes. Not knowing just before that picture, that person crying, or those two people were fighting, and then they took that picture because they want the world to know that, they are fine, because that is the age which is going on. And everybody from internally is looking for love.
Yes.
And nobody wants to be used. But the world where we are living in, we use people and we love our phone, our iPad. We often say that, उससे दोस्ती होनी चाहिए क्योंकि मुझे काम आएगा. Lekin things, we pick up our phone, I say, oh, I love my phone, I love my iPhone, or I love my whatever, Android or whatever. So if we are able to make that, people aware, because that is the need of the hour. That's why people are rushing towards spirituality. Also because, of course, this is the age for that. And, people are running towards it. So we just have to make it available for everyone. Make it available in the best possible manner. Yeah. That, we give them that what we are doing with spirituality, we are rejecting it without trying it. We say, no, it doesn't work. But you haven't tried it.
True.
We are ready to go so many other ways, but not this. So it works only with trying. If you try it, it'll work.
Absolutely. I don't think there's anyone who said that spirituality has not helped them and take them to, a better place. So that, it's a 100% success rate, so to speak.
And it's not who's not able to, who's not fighting with their mind and their senses and, mind going from here in this direction to that direction. So everybody is fighting for that.
Smita ji, your views on...
picking up from what Mataji said just now.
Right.
That love is, the whole universe is made of love, and all of us, the whole instinct is only love, and love is what binds everything together. In fact, Dadashiji's book, there's one book he's written, the cause of suffering is lack of love. The main idea is love, and we feel we are not suffering. Every human being is suffering. The only difference is that you're aware of your suffering or you're not aware of your suffering. I'm not talking of pain.
Right.
I'm talking of suffering, which is a mental thing. Everyone goes through a suffering. Now, having said that, maybe today, as you said, I am very happy and have lots of money, have lots of cars, have lots of everything in the world, and I'm very happy. Why the hell should I get into God or क्यों काम का ये सब चीजें मुझे नहीं चाहिए. But ये सब चीजें अब नहीं चाहिए. अभी है सब कुछ आपके पास. How do you know it's going to remain all your life? That's one. God forbid. I mean, let them remain. I pray to God that whatever they did, happy. Each one should be happy in their life. It's like taking this example of Krishna. When Arjuna learnt the bow and arrow, he learnt it when he was a little child. Is when the Kurukshetra, when the battlefield, when the battle happened, the Yuddha happened, that time he was so perfect at it because he learned it at that age. So today when the war started, the battle started, he was so perfect at it. He could use his, I mean, he was Dhanudhar, everybody knows he was a Dhanudhar. तो मेरा ये कहना है कि अब आप ठीक होंगे, लेकिन आगे चल के you can't dig a well when you're thirsty, right? So इसकी preparation थोड़ी सी तो आपको करनी चाहिए कि नहीं, कि जब आपको problem हो जाएंगे, then everybody wants answers and everybody wants to get out of that situation, then they're कुछ भी करके हाथ पैर मार के मुझे healing करो, मुझे ये करो, मुझे कुछ भी करो, that's a stage of desperation. And I've seen so many people when they're like really in that desperation state, then they want everything, everybody and anybody to help you. But before that, healing apna kaam nahi hai. So you don't know what life has for you. And this is in any way not going to harm you in any which way. It's not taking anything away from you. In fact, it's giving you a lot more than what you even think or imagine. So धीरे-धीरे इस पथ पे चलना क्या बुरी बात है? It will only help you is what I feel.
Yeah. There's no downside to this, absolutely. And I think, maybe as we go along, Pavitra, I know, is doing, we're doing programs and doing things to get people connected, and so is the Maitri Bodh Parivar, and hopefully we can do things to get younger, and you're already doing stuff with the Youth Foundation, but we can do more to make spirituality more relevant to the younger audience and get more people connected so that, the vibe and the energy that we all elicit becomes more positive, and we can get over this challenging time in our lives and transform and be in a better place in the future. So I'd like to thank Radharani Mataji. Thank you so much. Smita Ji, thank you so much for coming on our platform. And to everyone, listening to us, thank you. And we hope to have another session, hopefully in person, sometime soon. And once again, thank you and have a Pavitra evening.
Thank you, Mataji, for sharing this screen with me. I'm so happy. And Chetan, you're an excellent moderator, I must say.
Yeah.
Perfect questions, very nice questions. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Have a great evening.
You too.
Goodbye.